Chapter 3. Grendel arrives. There was a new feeling of hope in Hareroot Hall now, and the happy talk and laughter made the mead hall almost like it was in the old days. Then it was time for Hrothgar and his queen to leave the hall.
This is the first time I have ever let anyone who is not a Dane defend Hareroot Hall. All our hopes are with you,
said Hrothgar to Beowulf.
Trust me,
said Beowulf.
Tonight I will become famous, and tomorrow Denmark will be free. No weapons,
thought Beowulf, as he put his sword, helmet and chainmail armour against the wall.
I mustn't use weapons. Grendel will be unarmed, and so will I.
The Geats all lay down in the hall and waited. None of them, except Beowulf, expected to see the next day or to go home to their friends and families. Meanwhile, from out of the darkness, across the bleak moors, Grendel was coming. His huge, monstrous body filled with hatred, anger, and a greedy, terrible appetite as he got nearer and nearer to Hareroot Hall. He waited just a moment at the door, sniffing the air, then pulled it open and rushed in. The sight of so many sleeping bodies in the candlelight filled him with joy and anticipation. Eager to satisfy his appetite, he reached out and seized a body. With one terrible hand, he covered the poor man's mouth as he began to scream. With the other, he quickly ripped his body apart. Then he bit into the body parts and greedily ate everything, even the hands and feet. His first body made him even greedier for human flesh. He looked around and reached out to seize another body. But it wasn't the body of an ordinary man. It was Beowulf. Beowulf jumped up and seized Grendel's arm. He held it hard in his grip. Grendel had never felt a grip like that before, never in all his life. In Beowulf's grip there was the strength of 30 strong men, and the monster roared in pain. It was a terrifying noise, but Beowulf did not let go, not even for a moment. For the first time in his life, Grendel had to escape from a human being, not kill him. Beowulf held Grendel in both his strong, huge hands, and Grendel was trying desperately to escape from Beowulf's grip. They fought and struggled all over the hall. Tables and benches were broken and smashed, but Beowulf and Grendel were still locked together. The terrible screams of Grendel woke the Danes for miles around, but none of them came into the hall. The Geats tried to help their leader, attacking Grendel with their swords when they were sure they would not hit Beowulf. But their swords were useless. Even if they had had the best swords in all of Middle-earth, they could not have hurt Grendel. Years ago, the monster had made a magic spell against any kind of weapon, and his skin was tougher and harder than a warrior's shield. Beowulf's grip on Grendel became tighter and tighter, and he was now pulling hard on one of his arms. There was a noise of bones breaking and tendons ripping. A terrible wound appeared on Grendel's shoulder. Beowulf pulled harder. Grendel howled with pain. It was a noise more terrible than any scream or roar he had made till now. Beowulf tore Grendel's arm and shoulder away from his body. Still howling, Grendel ran out of the hall into the night. Beowulf sat exhausted on the floor.
I didn't kill him,
he said to himself, almost whispering.
But Grendel is going to die,
said the Geats.
Look what you've got in your hands. He can't survive.
Take it,
said Beowulf, giving the arm and shoulder to his warriors.
and nail it to the roof, high up so that everyone can see it."
The weight was so much that it needed 4 of them to do what Beowulf ordered. When the howls and screams of Grendel could not be heard any more, Hrothgar's warriors came to see what had happened. During the next few hours, Danes arrived from further away. All of them were amazed by the size of the arm and shoulder hanging from the roof. A group of warriors got on their horses and followed Grendel's footprints and blood. They followed them over the moor and through a forest to a bleak lake where the blood and footprints stopped. It was a horrible place. The surface of the lake was boiling with deep red blood.
"This must be his lair."
Some said.
"And he came back here to die."
So they rode back to Herut Hall. On the way, a bard who was with them sang a story of the hero Sigmund and how he killed a dragon. He compared Beowulf to Sigmund. Back at Herut Hall, Beowulf was standing in front of King Hrothgar and Queen Wealhtheow.
"I wanted to squeeze the life out of Grendel and show you the body, but the fight didn't end like that. But Herut Hall is free again, and I have kept my promise to you."
"My dear Beowulf,"
said Hrothgar,
"tonight I will reward you as you deserve, but for the moment let me tell you that you are like a son to me now."
all the Danish warriors cheered and shouted. Unferth looked at the demon's arm and shoulder. Each claw on the terrifying hand was like steel. His face was white, and he said nothing.